A boy and his cybertruck. Royce and I barely see each other, and your market recap on this edition of State of the Band's Weekend, starting right now. Hello and welcome to Arbitrage State of the Band's Weekend for November 2019. I'm Joshua Stark. The much-hyped unveiling of Tesla's electric pickup truck went off script Thursday night when supposedly unbreakable window glass splintered twice when hit with a large metal ball. The failed stunt, which ranks high on the list of embarrassing auto industry rollouts, came just after CEO Elon Musk bragged that the strength of Tesla armor glass on the wedge-shaped Cybertruck. On a Los Angeles area stage with Musk, Tesla design chief Franz von Holzhausen hurled a softball-sized metal ball at the driver's side window to demonstrate the strength of the glass, which Musk called transparent metal glass. It shattered. "Oh my God," Musk said, uttering an expletive. Maybe that was a little too hard. They tried it a second time on the left passenger window, which spider-cracked again. Musk recovered with a one-liner. At least it didn't go through. That's a plus side, right? The failure overshadowed the truck's slick unveiling, which some analysts panning its looks. The truck, a stainless steel covered triangle, resembles the much derided Pontiac Aztek SUV sold by General Motors in the early 2000s, or a DeLorean. Investors probably didn't like the stunts or the truck's futuristic design, which is aimed at getting a foothold in the most profitable part of the U.S. auto market. Tesla shares fell more than 6% Friday. More after this on Arbitrage Trade's State of the Band.
If getting the most out of your investment is important to you, then beware of cheap entertainment when planning your next party. Omega Sound and Entertainment is a Hall of Fame mobile DJ company that travels the country, specializing in once-in-a-lifetime events from weddings and private parties to corporate events and more. For your once-in-a-lifetime event, invest wisely. Invest where the search for premier entertainment ends. Omega Sound and Entertainment. Online at OmegaSoundDJs.com or Omega Sound DJs on Instagram.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be tornado next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day.
I have no time for this.
So,
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
The next time you get sick, your care may involve a form of the technology people use to navigate road trips or pick the right vacuum cleaner online. Artificial intelligence is spreading into healthcare, often as software or a computer program capable of learning from large amounts of data and making predictions to guide care or help patients. It already detects an eye disease tied to diabetes and does other behind-the-scenes work like helping doctors interpret MRI scans and other imaging tests for some forms of cancer. Now parts of the health system are starting to use it directly with patients. During some clinic and telemedicine appointments, AI-powered software asks patients initial questions about their symptoms that physicians or nurses normally pose. And an AI program is starting to help University of Southern California students cope with stress. Researchers say this push into medicine is at an early stage, but they expect the technology to grow by helping people stay healthy, assisting doctors with tasks, and doing more behind-the-scenes work. They also think patients will get used to AI in their care, just like they've gotten used to using the technology when they travel or shop.
Invest in stocks, ETFs, options, and cryptocurrencies, all commission-free, right from your phone or desktop. Access professional research reports, trade on margin, and make bigger instant deposits with Robinhood Gold, all starting at $5 a month. It only takes a few minutes to take control of your financial future. Sign up now to start investing with Robinhood at arbitragetrade.com/Robinhood.
Research, fundamental experience, technical analysis, statistical probability. It's what sets us apart, and it's what will get you to stop watching and start living. Every day we track over 8,700 stocks to give you a list for over 131 disciplines and suggested entry and exit prices for each, not to mention how much we expect it to move on a daily basis. Stop watching and start living. Get started today at arbitragetrade.com. In this issue of State of the Bands, now you see it, now you don't. Why did the Brexit vote fail again? Can you read my mind? And there's probably an app for that. The UK knife ban, God bless the US Sunshine Act, and clones? Clones? We don't need no stinking clones. And seriously, how about a real Santa Claus rally this year? All this and more in this issue of State of the Bands, available now at arbitragetrade.com. Now, let's go to the president and CEO of Arbitrage Trade Analytics, Royce Wells, for more. Royce?
Hi, Josh.
Hi, Royce.
Well, we're back. So, wait, can you see me?
I can absolutely see you, Royce.
That means my spectral cloak is not working.
Spectral cloak?
Yes, and I'm not talking about Harry Potter either. I am talking about a real, honest-to-goodness invisibility cloak. A Chilean mathematician actually invented one in 2003, right about the time that J.K. Rowling was debuting Harry Potter. So I'm not sure if she's attributed with it or he is. But it's pretty cool. How it works is basically it bends light, takes some light from this part of the spectrum and some light from that part of the spectrum, and basically removes it and then bends the light around it and then puts it back on top or in front of the object so it looks like there's actually nothing there. So you can use this to hide all kinds of stuff. For example, military and governmental things, you can actually use it to hide as much as a building, a person. So it's not a little cloak. This has grand scale. Like maybe David Copperfield had it when he hid the Statue of Liberty. I don't know. But it is majorly big, and it also can be used to hide data. The same technology can be used to hide fiber optic lines or basically all the stuff that, we, for our new technologies, the 5G stuff, we can literally hide it in plain sight because basically to the naked eye, it's invisible.
Sweet.
So that's it. It is gone. And the first people to do this were not Americans.
Seriously?
Yeah, there were actually some Canadians, but we still like those guys. What you talking about? I'm sorry, a boot. But a Canadian team, they basically coined the phrase invisibility cloak. So I'm not sure, if we really can give J.K. Rowling's that attribution. But interestingly enough, the invisibility cloak that was released in 2003, in 2006, both the Americans, the British, and the Canadians were all racing to get their patents in so that they would be the first people to actually get the attribution for inventing the invisibility cloak. But the Americans and the British, they were only able to hide a two-dimension or a cylinder made of copper. Which, wow, that's great, but how often do you see someone walking around with a tube of copper? Inversely, the Canadians, they were only able to hide 2D things. So they could hide a sheet of paper, they could hide, anything that was two-dimensional. So it wasn't really ideal. But as technology went on and time went on, the Canadians, they actually improved it quite a bit. And they were the first to, in 2018, revealed an actual invisibility cloak that could hide any 2D or 3D object. But the hard part was the shadow. Bet you didn't see that coming.
More with Royce after this.
Okay, gang. So chances are there'll never be an emergency ever again.
Mm-hmm.
But just in case, let's talk about a plan.
Okay.
So who's going to do what? Anyone? Yeah, okay, perfect. We'll figure it out as we go. So, who is going to grab the go bag?
What's a go bag? It is a bag we do not have that is filled with things we really need in an emergency.
Guess we won't have to worry about it then.
Ah, good point. So, we all know who to call if something happens then, right?
I'd have to call Jill, Devin, Melissa, Karen, and Bruce.
And I will try to call all of you, but Greg doesn't have a cell phone. Dad's phone will have a dead battery.
No doubt.
And Julie will be on the phone with Jill, Devin, Melissa, Karen, and Bruce.
Well, this is great. I am so glad that we don't have a plan.
I know.
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. A public service announcement brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Welcome traders to Winners and Losers Biotechnology Edition. Our first winner, up 66%, develops medicines that treat intractable diseases by silencing the genes that cause them. The company was founded by R. Bruce Stewart in 1989 and is headquartered in Pasadena, California. Arrowhead Pharmaceuticals, symbol ARWR, is currently at $69.69 a share. Next up by 38% is a holding company which engages in the provision of sample and assay technology to transform biological samples into valuable molecular insights. It offers bioinformatics, molecular diagnostics, next-gen sequencing, and genomic services. Headquartered in Venlo, Netherlands, Qiagen, with its symbol QGEN, is currently at $42.60 a share. Lastly, this winner engages in the development and market of surgical solutions for peripheral nerves. It also provides products and education to improve surgical treatment algorithms for peripheral nerve damage or discontinuity. Axogen, symbol AXGN, is currently at $17.31 at the time of this recording. First up in the losers category this time, down 23%, this company engages in the discovery, development, and marketing of a transformative molecular diagnostic test. Myriad Genetics, symbol MYGN, is at $26.07 a share. Next up, this company, down 17%, engages in the discovery, development, and commercialization of therapies for the treatment of patients with open-angle glaucoma, retinal diseases, and other diseases of the eye. Its products include Ropressa, Rocklatan, AR13503, and AR1105. Aerie Pharmaceuticals, down to $18.22 a share. Last, down 12%, is a company that engages in the development, manufacture, and distribution of products and services for the animal, veterinary, livestock, and poultry, dairy, and water testing markets. IDEXX Labs, symbol IDXX, is down to $251.31. Winners and Losers is provided for informational purposes only and does not constitute advice in trading. Percentages and stock prices were current as of time of recording. Arbitrage Trade Analytics LLC is solely responsible for the content of this podcast, but you should seek the assistance of a licensed professional for investment advice.
Invest in stocks, ETFs, options, and cryptocurrencies, all commission-free, right from your phone or desktop. Access professional research reports, trade on margin, and make bigger instant deposits with Robinhood Gold, all starting at $5 a month. It only takes a few minutes to take control of your financial future. Sign up now to start investing with Robinhood at arbitragetrade.com/Robinhood.
You put your keys between your knuckles. You walk in well-lit areas. Stay clear of parked vans. Someone approaches you and you cross to the other side of the street. Your cell phone is ready, the numbers for help saved on speed dial. You lock the door behind you, once, twice, maybe 3 times. Now you feel safe, secure. You think you've made the right choices to protect yourself. Think again. Because if you're not making healthy choices, you could be one of the nearly 2 out of 3 women killed by cancer, diabetes, heart disease, or stroke. So eat right, get active, don't smoke, see your doctor, and live. Learn to protect yourself from yourself at 1-866-399-6789 or visit us at everydaychoices.org. A message from the American Cancer Society, American Diabetes Association, American Heart Association, and the Ad Council.
Powers Not Included, the comic book podcast. A podcast about comics, games, toys, and everything geek. They talk about Deadpool, Deathstroke, Deathlock, The Night of the Living Dead, and The Walking Dead. Why the fixation on dead stuff? Find out when you subscribe to Powers Not Included on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Podbean.
Is it live or is it Memorex? We're talking to the one and only Royce Wells about clones. Royce?
Well, Josh, clones are our friends.
But there's Star Wars, Attack of the Clones, Clone Wars. No.
Well, if you think about it, well, let's first talk about Star Wars because
right?
I like Star Wars. Did you know that the first 6 episodes were all filmed and released? Well, not filmed, but released in the month of May. Hence the phrase, May the 4th be with you.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a fun fact. But clones can be beneficial to a lot of people because some people use clones or they use animals for animal testing, and they basically want to be able to like all the pharmaceuticals and all of the makeup and stuff that they try to use on people's skin and whatnot, they usually test it on animals first. So they will say, for example, you have a random epidemic or whatnot, and you're trying to reproduce the same exact conditions so you can reproduce the test. You can use a clone to do that. But there's usually ethical backlash because these are animals. Are they real animals? Do they have souls? And there are a whole bunch of worms or cans of worms that you're opening when you start talking about clones. China, however, has in the last few months isolated a gene in a monkey and has been able to create 5 identical monkeys with a gene that is disabled, so they have a clone that they can reproduce at as many as they would like without regard. For example, in America, we can't clone monkeys. We can barely clone mice. And it's not because we don't have the technology. We actually have ethics. Let me back up a little bit. We have laws that have ethics that prevents us from being able to do that. But for those other countries that it is allowed, cloning is taking front stage because there are many medical breakthroughs that can be found if they are being allowed.
Speaking of clones, Royce, are we going to see a repeat of last year's Christmas?
Well, last year was the year without a Santa Claus. Most of the time at this time of year, people experience what they like to call the Santa Claus rally. And that's because a lot of people go on vacation and the markets settle down. And typically it rises on low volume and everyone's happy and their accounts are doing well. And it's a wonderful Christmas and everyone's enjoying it. But last year, it was coined that it was a year without a Santa Claus as the Dow Jones and the S&P 500 fell over 800 points on Christmas Eve. So that was definitely a year without a Santa Claus. This year, however, we're looking at all-time highs, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down at all. If it can maintain this speed, we actually may have a very beautiful Christmas this year as the markets reach new highs every single day going into the new year. So I'm really optimistic.
The Grinch's heart grows 2 sizes this year, hopefully. And we'll talk more about the markets coming up on Arbitrage Trade's State of the Bands. Anything you missed, you can look up arbitragetrade.com. Stick around.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What?
No!
Yep. And my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up.
See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Hello traders and welcome to your market update. Why did the Brexit vote fail again? Well, much like a dramatic celebrity divorce, it's almost impossible to escape some level of coverage of the Brexit. What is Brexit, you may ask? It's the petition for the United Kingdom, or the UK, to leave the European Union. The UK joined the EU in 1973, and if it ever successfully withdraws, it will be the first member of the EU to leave. That being said, what are the advantages to being in the EU? Well, it allows free trade and free movement of people such that anyone living in the EU can live and work wherever they choose. Sounds good, right? Well, not exactly for the UK. The UK has seen a substantial increase in their net contribution from £2.7 billion in 2008 to £11.3 billion in 2013. It also means that the UK cannot negotiate their own trade deals outside of what EU wants to do as a whole. The vote was initially brought up June 23, 2016 in a referendum where a majority of those who voted also voted to leave. The Brexit was slated to happen in 2 years, but the House of Commons voted to extend the deadline from March 14, 2019 to June 30, 2019. This has happened more than a few times, with the most recent extension calling for an exit date of January 31st, 2020. Britain's people are voting on December 12th. It's been dubbed the Brexit election, dominated by the country's stalled exit from the European Union. But political parties are also trying to win over voters more worried about the UK's stuttering economy and frayed social fabric. The electorate remains deeply skeptical of politicians' promise, if a televised question and answer session on Friday is any indication. The leaders of Britain's four biggest parties, Prime Minister Boris Johnson, main opposition Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn, Nicola Sturgeon of the Scottish National Party, and Joe Swinson of the pro-EU Liberal Democrats, faced uncomfortable questions from a studio audience selected to reflect the level of party support. Stocks to watch in Brexit: Vector Group, symbol VGR, Limoneira Company, LMNR, Medifast Incorporated, MED, HEAR, that's Turtle Beach, and PCRFY, Panasonic Corporation. Speaking of British, kiss your slasher fantasies goodbye with the most recent addition to the UK weapons ban. A line of stab-proof kitchen knives will be released in January of 2020. Yeah, you heard that correctly, stab-proof knives. Since kitchen knives were reclassified as offensive weapons in the Offensive Weapons Act of 2019, Rayware will be the first to mass produce a product of this type, while other large cutlery providers such as Asada and Tesco will be removing products for retailers. This all started in 1996 with the first and only school shooting in the UK. The result of this tragedy was a ban of handguns. There has been one spree killing since then, the Cumbria shootings in 2010, using legally obtained firearms, by the way. Of course, when monitored and restricted, people will get creative. In this case, the new weapon of choice is the knife and other sharp instruments. The UK has seen a steady increase in offenses involving a knife or sharp object starting around 2015, hence the need to develop stab-proof knives.
You put your keys between your knuckles. You walk in well-lit areas. Stay clear of parked vans. Someone approaches you and you cross to the other side of the street. Your cell phone is ready, the numbers for help saved on speed dial. You lock the door behind you, once, twice, maybe 3 times. Now you feel safe, secure. You think you've made the right choices to protect yourself. Think again. Because if you're not making healthy choices, you could be one of the nearly 2 out of 3 women killed by cancer, diabetes, heart disease, or stroke. So eat right, get active, don't smoke, see your doctor, and live. Learn to protect yourself from yourself at 1-866-399-6789 or visit us at everydaychoices.org. A message from the American Cancer Society, American Diabetes Association, American Heart Association, and the Ad Council.
And we're back with Royce Wells. Royce, I'm trying to read your mind to find out what we're talking about next.
Josh, not even I can do that.
You mean you can't read your own mind, man?
No, sir, but IBM can. And as of 2008, they applied for a patent which basically created a functional MRI which uses deep neural networks and deep generator networks to actually pull images directly out of the brain and put them on a canvas so you can actually see what the person is thinking. But coincidentally, in 2008, there was a case where a woman in India was convicted of a murder after an EEG on her brain allegedly revealed that she was familiar with all the circumstances surrounding the murder of her fiancé. But that begs the question, is it ethically okay in America for you to look at these images and actually convict somebody of that? You can't even plead your Fifth Amendment rights if they can actually see what's going on in your brain and see that you know the circumstances. Where's the line? Where do we say it's okay to use this type of technology or where it's not? Some may argue there is no line, or some are starting to see that those lines are starting to blur. So whether it's IBM or Siri or Alexa or any of these bots that may have that access.
Man, Attack of the Clones, the robots are taking over, reading minds, Minority Report. Sounds like a movie, man.
Next State of the Bands, we're actually talking about AI, so go for it.
Sweet. Hey, Royce, how much do you pay for your streaming services a year?
Roughly $300 a year.
Well, Brits don't have it as good as we do because they have to pay $177 a year before they can even pay for those same services. Tell us a little bit more about that.
That is called a TV license. You have to have a license to watch or listen to anything on your television, and it's per television. So, yeah, that adds up quickly. And if you don't pay that, you could actually get arrested and face jail time.
Whoa, you have to have a license for TV. Not only that, it's per TV. And you can go to jail if you don't do it?
That's how it is in the UK. Well, at least for now. So, but did you know, in Florida, things are quite nice. There's something called the Sunshine Act. All of the states have a Sunshine Act, which basically says that there has to be some bit of information that has to be dispersed to the public for free. And because of that, we get to know about all kinds of stuff that's going on in America without being a part of the government. So God bless the Sunshine Act. But in Florida in 1995, they decided to share just a little bit more. They actually made their own set of Sunshine Act laws, and they're called the Florida Sunshine Act, which says, you know what? We're not going to put any filters on. None. So every time you see in the news a Florida man does this or a Florida man does that, that's all because of that Sunshine Act. So we have access to a lot of information in Florida, but maybe not in every other state. So that's something to be aware of.
Let the sun shine in, and we're out on this edition of Arbitrage State of the Bands Weekend. I'm Joshua Stark, and that's Royce Wells, and we'll see you next time. Research, fundamental experience, technical analysis, statistical probability. It's what sets us apart and what will get you to stop watching and start living. Get started today at arbitragetrade.com.
Arbitrage Trade Analytics, LLC, is a privately held market research company. Arbitrage Trade Analytics, LLC, is solely responsible for the preparation and distribution of the content of this podcast. The opinions offered in this podcast are for informational purposes only and are not intended to be investment advice. Seek a duly licensed professional for investment advice. For more information about the informational research and services offered by Arbitrage Trade Analytics, LLC, please visit arbitragetrade.com.